What's up, friends, and welcome in to Leading Off right here on Fantasy Pros. I'm Chris Welsh. No Joe Pisapia. He's on the beach, laid out, bald head in the sun. Joe Orrico is filling in north of the border here. Joe Orrico and I breaking down all the latest and greatest in MLB on the final show of the week. No show on Friday, taking it off for the 4th of July. I've got some birthdays to celebrate. Mr. Joe Orrico, we talked about a few things on the live stream yesterday that we're going to have to carry back over, but how goes it, my friend?
It's going pretty well. You know, we got the long weekend ahead. I'm going to be getting out of the city with a few friends. Like a big group of us are going to be heading away to a cottage. So looking forward to getting away, but also looking forward to chatting some baseball, my friend.
Well, we'll try to answer some questions today. So if you're hanging out, make sure that you drop some questions in. Can get you also entered in to our contest. Yes, you can have an opportunity to win a Juan Gonzalez autographed jersey, courtesy of our friends over at pristineauction.com. That beautiful one that's on the screen right now. And all you got to do is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros MLB YouTube channel right now. And actually, I just lied because I kind of did this during the live stream because we were on YouTube. So if you're watching on Twitch, good on you. But you got to go over to the YouTube. But you can comment on this video on the YouTube when it's loaded or any of the videos that we've got, and you are entered as long as you're also subscribed. Fantasy Pros MLB YouTube channel. Do it today and turn on notifications so you can know not only when new videos are up, but you can potentially claim your prize. This month, Juan Gonzalez can be yours. Yes, yes, yes. And very good live stream yesterday. So lock into it. Shout out to all the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks that are hanging out with us. We've got good and bad news, I suppose, throughout baseball. We're going to be going through some best bets in a little bit, so let's just jump right in. We were greeted with pretty much this horrific news at the start of the live stream yesterday. Spencer Schwellenbach. So we got to talk about it here on this in the show. Spencer Schwellenbach went to the IL with an elbow fracture. Why it sucks so much too? This wasn't just like elbow, like he was hit with a ball or something like that. Oh, there's a little fracture. He did it throwing. That makes me even a little bit more nervous. So he said he felt uncomfortable. Bam, there's a fracture. Now looks like we're not going to see him until September. So he's going to not throw for an entire month. The expectation is he could come back to September, which I suppose that's a good positive. Schwellenbach told reporters that he thinks his recent increased velocity might be the reason for that fracture in his elbow. So, Joe, I know we talked a little bit about yesterday, hearing him talk about that, having a day to sit on it. What's your take at this point? Is Schwellenbach worth holding on to? Because a lot of it's speculative if he's even going to play at all. If you've got an IL spot, you could just kind of do it. But if you're in an IL crunch, are you willing to just dump Schwellenbach at the hopes he comes back in September and that even helps your fantasy?
I'm fine with dropping him pretty much everywhere. The more I've thought about it over the last 24 hours, I just can't see a scenario where he comes back and he's really helping people this year. They're saying maybe September. And maybe September, there's nothing guaranteed. And especially when you're looking at a Braves team that has thoroughly disappointed, they're in all likelihood not going to make the playoffs. They're 11 back of the division and about 7 back of the wild card. We were talking about yesterday how there's about 5 teams that would have to leapfrog as well. Without Chris Sale and without Schwellenbach, that's going to be almost impossible. And you also have to think about most people are playing in head-to-head leagues, and the playoffs tend to end a week or two early in head-to-head leagues. So the middle of September is when your finals are going to be in your playoffs. Is he going to be back by that point? And if he is back, is he going to be vintage Schwellenbach, or is he going to be kind of struggling with short outings? Like there are a lot of ways this can go wrong. I think the majority of people can just cut bait on him.
I think I'm out. I think I'm with you. I think I'm out. I think I'm willing to dump off if I have to on Schwellenbach if you've got the injury stuff, because I'm not optimistic. I mean, fractures, they can heal positively pretty quick. My son actually had a fracture in his leg and he was back to, heavy moving in a month and competing, which was, great. The world-class athletes, but it's just like your throwing elbow. He's got to not do anything for a month. Most likely going to have some extended rehab after, and then you're just praying he comes back. So I think you can move on. We also talked about on the live stream some potential replacements out there. It's dependent on your league. You guys are welcome to throw this in here into the chat if you've got more questions, or you can go back and listen to some of the starting pitchers that we talked about. I will, you know what, I'm going to save this because you guys in the chat are talking about something that is big on there. We'll talk about this at the end of the news. Jacob Misiorowski allowed 5 hits, 5 runs, and 3 walks. Only 2 strikeouts through 3 2/3 of an inning. It was a very Chase Burns-like start. Chase Burns didn't even get out of like the, half of an inning. But Misiorowski got his welcome to the majors performance here. Not a great outing, giving up the earned runs. Let's get your take. Is there any worries with Misiorowski? Overall, like, where are you at on Misiorowski after this start? This didn't inflate anything horrific, but, the numbers have bumped up a little bit. But a funny one, expected ERA is actually still better than his current ERA after this start. So what's your take after this little blow up from Misiorowski?
I don't read too much into it, but this is part of the reason why I put him in the trade video short that I did last week. Him and Jacob Lopez, who both got kind of blown up this week. It's because after a couple of starts, people will start to overrate these young prospects. Misiorowski was ranked as like a top 15 or top 20 pitcher. This kind of brings things back to earth a little bit. I have him at 39 in my rest of season rankings, and that feels about right. There are going to be some bumps and bruises, especially for a guy who has this kind of walk rate. And we saw that yesterday. The walk rate is going to be what comes back to bite him. So I'm not saying he's like a drop or anything like that, but he's got the Dodgers next week. And I have no problem sitting him for that one. No problem at all. But I think he's going to be fine rest of the season.
I do too. I think this is similar to the Chase Burns thing. It's just no one's giving Chase Burns the benefit of the doubt. He had one good start, got absolutely obliterated, and everyone's like, we should probably get out. And it's like, no, I would wait. It's just a little different of a timeline. He's got the Phillies, want to own, probably sit. I would sit him against the Dodgers as well. I don't feel like super great about it. And the walks were the issue in the minors. This is the thing that made him almost a relief pitcher at some point, or at least the conversation was because highly inflated walk rates. He is now at 12% after this last start. So it's all short sample sizes over 4 games. It's one bad outing. Let's monitor the Dodgers and stuff like that. But I think we're completely fine. And like you said, maybe the trade potential has kind of like simmered. There was a moment after 3 starts where, you could have traded Misiorowski for like a top, 20. I mean, you're not going to trade him for like a top 20 pitcher when he's already one, but you could probably have gotten a 25, 30 positional player, like an outfielder, or, maybe somewhere between like a infield positional 8 to 12 or something like that. And maybe I'm underselling it. Do you remember that trade yesterday on the live stream that it was like, God, what was it? It was Jazz and Misiorowski for Gilbert. Gilbert, do you feel any different about that after the start?
Yeah, it was Jazz. There was a couple of potential ones. It was like Jazz and Misiorowski for Gilbert. And then I think the guy said there was another piece that was going to be included.
Yeah, but even without the piece.
Even without the piece, yeah, I think you probably got to take the Gilbert side, especially if you are getting an additional piece included there. Gilbert has his own concerns with the flexor strain. I don't know how healthy he's going to be rest of the season, but with Misiorowski, you are going to see these ups and downs. For any rookie pitcher, they're going to struggle, but those walks are going to be deadly unless he gets that under 10%. If you're operating in the 12 to 14% range, that's going to be a huge problem.
Hunter Brown yesterday struck out 8 over 6 innings, 2-run ball, picked up the win against the Rockies. So that was a cash. The day before, I think I was 0-3 on my bets, or 1-2 today or yesterday, 3-0 after that. And Hunter Brown was a good force of that. Hunter Brown has just been ridiculous. How about this bounce back? Marcus Semien, only 1 for 4 yesterday, but had a 3-run homer. Corner looks like it's starting to turn. He now has 5 homers since the beginning of June with an over 1,000 OPS over the last 30 days. Are you in like turnaround world with Marcus Semien? Because it looks so bad. I still kind of stand to where what I said earlier in the season, where it's like, yeah, we know he's going to bounce back. It had been so bad for so long. If you need to move on, it's okay. Because what does it look like when he comes back? It's still not the greatest thing in the world, but he's got his average up to 238. He just hit 324 in June. He's kind of carrying it back over. Do you think we are back on Marcus Semien?
I don't know about back. Like, I don't know if he's ever going to get back to like his 2019 through like 2023 years where he was the best second baseman in fantasy. He hit the 45 homers. He had a 25-25 year. I don't think we're ever getting back to that level necessarily, but I think he's really solid. If you look below the surface, a lot of the numbers are pretty similar to where they have been. The barrel and hard hit rates are in line. swinging strike rates, contact rates are about the same. There's not like a huge cliff that he's fallen off of the way that it looked like he kind of had to start the year. The thing that's interesting about Marcus Semien is that for the year as a whole, he's still the number 18 second baseman. So do you think, given the early struggles combined with this turnaround, do you think that he was worth the draft pick where he was going? Or would you, like, if you knew what you knew right now, that he was going to struggle and he was going to turn it around, would you still have been willing to take him around pick 100?
Yeah, I mean, he was really low, though. That's a really good question because, like, he was cuttable. We were cutting him like a month and a half ago. So I guess the answer would be no on that. But we all knew he was kind of a slow starter. I don't think you can look at him necessarily from a whole season standpoint and be like, he's, 18th second baseman. You got to put into, I think you'd be better in like the last 2 months. Like, give me May and June and see what that looks like, because then you have this incredible June, you have this really bad May. And what does he look like at second baseman? And maybe that's the true test. Still, to your answer is no, because we were at the level of cutting him, but his value moving forward maybe is a little bit better of a representation over those 2 months.
But somebody got him. Many people probably got him off the waiver wire and didn't even have to have the bad first month of the season, which they're probably loving life right now.
That's the big win. That's the big win for sure. Dylan Cease, he lost to the Phillies, 4 runs, 6 innings. This was in that doubleheader. Cease gave up 2 homers, and this is the second straight outing he's done that. But here's what's important. 3-8 record, 4.62 ERA. It is a run higher than his expected ERA, his Sierra. You and I talked on the live stream yesterday that we both feel like he's going to bounce back. Like, he's going to bounce back. But is he? I just wanted to get your heat check on it since it was on the live stream, but also this was another start where things are just not going his way. We both kind of are buyers. We had multiple people in that chat be like, I'm out. I don't feel comfortable with him. Any new takes on it? Or do you think like, okay, yes, it's July, but he can still turn this around? He's starting to turn into like the Marcus Semien of pitchers right now. Like, we know he's going to turn around, but like, is he?
Yeah, I'm still pretty confident in him. I feel like the situation where we keep saying it, it's almost like the Bubba Chandler call up. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's going to turn it around eventually. And I still feel like it's going to happen. If you look at all the data, it's really strong. The walk rate being at 8.5%. This is what we wanted forever with Dylan Cease. Just get the walk rate under 10%. Still got a 29% strikeout rate. There hasn't been a huge change in terms of the quality of contact he's allowing. The barrel rate and hard hit rates are about the same. His stuff is still really good at 108. He's just been kind of unlucky, I think is the bottom line here. I think the BABIP needs to come down a little bit. It's at 328. He's been at 294 for his career. Like you alluded to, he's underperforming all of his ERA estimators and expected stats. So I think he's going to be fine. I think if you are in a situation where you can trade for Dylan Cease, it's probably not going to cost you a hell of a lot. I would be sending out some offers for sure. We still have a lot of baseball left. We still have about 50% of the year. And you can still get a good 13 or 14 starts at a Dylan Cease. And I think we are going to see that down the stretch.
Yeah, and regardless of how much time is left, like if you believe he's going to bounce back and you can get him right now, you don't have to, what does it matter what he's done leading up to this point if he's going to turn out? But I'm curious, we can run a poll, like in or out. Are you a buyer of Dylan Cease or a seller? No holds, no nothing. You are either like, I'm in that he's going to bounce back, so I'm buying, or nope, I don't like this. I want out from Dylan Cease. I would definitely be curious what and where people are at. So I think Seth has got the poll up. So we'll get some results. If you guys want to vote on that, I'm definitely very curious. Back to some of the news and notes. Clayton Kershaw struck out 3, allowed 4 runs, 6 innings, and a no decision. But more importantly, 3,000 strikeouts. Got to it. But vintage slider, Clayton Kershaw, just one of the best in the world. And I will probably always remember him this year on the backfields going against Rhett Lauder in a complex league level game and the weirdness that it was. I'm just always going to have this memory of, rookie ball, 50 people showing up, and it's Kershaw versus Rhett Lauder going up against, rookie level, both of them, and watching him. He no hit. He no hit. It was like 6 innings, no hits, blah, blah, blah. It's just something that will always stand out. And I did meet Clayton Kershaw at a Whole Foods like 10 years ago and took a picture with him. So I'll always remember that. But any just quick thoughts on the 3,000 strikeouts? It's a ridiculously crazy milestone. 21st player in MLB history to reach 3,000 strikeouts.
Yeah, he's one of the greatest pitchers we'll ever see. I think other than Randy Johnson, you could make a case that he's the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time. And maybe some people would put him ahead of Randy. I think Randy is number one, but Kershaw, what an incredible career, man. Like it's hard to put into words just how dominant he was. Like his 2008 rookie season, he had a 4.26 ERA. His ERA did not go above 4 again until 2024 in a 7-start sample size. You don't see that. You just don't see somebody throw almost 3,000 innings of a 2.52 ERA and a 1.01 WHIP. That being said, if you're a fantasy manager who owns Clayton Kershaw, I'd look into trading him because a lot of the data is not great. He is 37 years old. The strikeouts are no longer there. The walks are a little bit higher than they have been historically. The stuff doesn't grade out well anymore. I feel like we are eventually going to hit a point with Clayton Kershaw where he's no longer productive, especially now that he's hit the 3,000 strikeout milestone. I'd be a little bit worried about trusting him, especially in shallower leagues going forward.
I completely agree with that. It's very dicey. I can always appreciate players that as they get older, they're able to take their stuff and find ways to make it work. And he's got just that devastating curveball or slider and all that, that he makes work. But there's only so long, like even in that complex level game, like some of those guys, as soon as he threw the fastball, they hit it. I mean, that game could have been 6 innings, 5 earned runs. He gave up, but everything just got hit at the wall that night. But nobody could hit as he was just dumping that curveball low. So he's absolutely nasty and filthy. But only 20 other pitchers. I know Seth just put this in here. The 20, because he makes 21. Let's see the number. Do you know number? You got to know who number 1 is, right? In the strikeout club,
all time in strikeouts, it's Nolan Ryan, isn't it?
Yeah, 5,700 is ridiculous. Top 5 Nolan. It's just the most absurd number. It's absolutely laughable because it's like no one's gonna sniff that. Number 2 is almost 1,000 strikeouts less than Randy Johnson. Roger Clemens, number 3 at 4,600. Steve Carlton with 4,100. And those are the only guys with 4,000 or higher. Do you know who number 5 is on the list? He's the highest of the 3,000 strikeouts.
Is it Randy Johnson?
No, Randy was number 2. Randy has 4,800. So he was just shy of 1,000 less than Nolan Ryan. So the top 4 were Randy, Nolan, Roger Clemens, and Steve Carlton.
So I'd probably go to like one of those old time, like Walter Johnson or somebody like that.
That's a good guess. Walter Johnson was number 9 on the list. Number 5, let's see. Well, people look it up, but Bert Blyleven. I would not have guessed that. 3,700. Tom Seaver, Don Sutton, Gaylord Perry, Walter Johnson, and Justin Verlander are the top 10 on that list. And actually, I didn't realize this. There are 3. I wonder if this has ever been like this. There are currently, this says there's only 20 active. That's weird. Maybe I saw that wrong. But there are 3 active 3,000 strikeout pitchers. I wonder if what's the most active 3,000 plus pitchers in a season has been, because I've got to assume this is it, that are currently pitching. So that's pretty crazy in general.
Greinke was so close too. He's 21 shy. What a shame.
He was trying to get back in the game last year in the complex. Robbie Ray was rehabbing, and that didn't even really matter. He just showed up. I guess he's buddies with Robbie Ray. But the Diamondbacks let him train at their facility last year. So you would go to a night rookie ball game or something, and Zach Greinke would be there, and he was training and trying to get a gig. So I wouldn't be able to let that go. I really, truly wouldn't.
No, me neither.
Yeah. Last little bits of news here, and then we'll move on with the show. Sean Manaea was charged with 3 runs, 2 earned over 3 innings on Wednesday in a rehab start. That's important just simply because he was out there. They said he's going to do 1 more rehab start next Tuesday, and then it looks like he would be returning, which I guess would line up maybe right before the All-Star break, or maybe they wait for after the All-Star break. But Sean Manaea looks like he's closing in. And then this is the thing from earlier that threw me off a little bit. Multiple people were bringing this up, but I saw this morning, and Jeff Passan tweeted about it. The Guardians have placed Luis Ortiz on a non-disciplinary paid leave. We didn't know the reason, but Passan said he is being investigated. And there's usually there's a big 3 of investigations at this point. And unfortunately, it used to be kind of like a big 2, The new one, and I'm not saying this is it, but the new one seems to be gambling. Gambling seems to be like the big new thing that comes in with a lot. They're literally not leaking anything of what this is. So I don't know, what it is. It's like PEDs or, there's like issues in the family, if you know what I'm saying. And then now gambling, but we have absolutely no idea. They're not releasing it. But Luis Ortiz, who has had a phenomenal, bounce back season. He's on a non-disciplinary paid leave, and it took enough that Passan tweeted about this. So not good, Joe Rico.
So what I'm seeing is they did confirm it's a gambling investigation.
Oh, they did. Okay, I hadn't seen that before. The start of the show, they had. Yeah, I see a couple people say Nate in here said so it is a gambling one.
Yeah, I don't understand what's wrong with these people, man. I don't know why they're so stupid. I when you see Beasley the other day in the NBA,
we all like a good parlay, but maybe not
on.
if it's in your
I don't understand the thought process. You're gonna make maybe a couple $100,000 doing these bets when Ortiz this year, what's his contract this year? $783,000. Okay, he's not raking in like tens of millions of dollars like Malik Beasley has, but still, what is the upside here? You're gonna get caught. You're gonna get suspended. He's gonna get a lifetime ban. I don't get it. What's the point? Why risk?
Also, how are these guys all getting? Are they all just their username on DraftKings is like Luis Ortiz Cleveland SP? Yeah. What do these guys do? How is it so prominent that they're all getting caught like this as well? Baseball, basketball's starting to get into it. If you guys remember, I think it was last year, Tucupita Marcano with the Pirates, a minor leaguer, he got banned for life for it. I think it might have had like investigation into like him affecting games, but this is bad. This is really bad. And I don't think we have a history yet of a single player being investigated for gambling that it hasn't gone the bad way. You know what I'm saying? We haven't had one where they're like, oh, no, he's good.
Whoops.
Yeah, whoops, our bad. That wasn't, you just roll dice. He was playing dice. It never works out in their favor. So as somebody said in here, who was it? Oh, yeah, it just made my Ortiz start decision pretty easy today. So I think we are going to be bidding farewell to Ortiz.
Cut him. He's gone. He's done.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get a couple questions in here. Garza, lost sale, Schwellenbach, Miller, Job in my 12-team dynasty. I need pitching. Was offered Gossman and Burns for Sanchez. Should I take it? He also has Kirby, Miz, and Chandler fighting for a playoff spot. So I think the idea is he's lost so much depth. This would allow, he's trading, I'd say the best guy in here, and Chris Sanchez, to get two pieces for a depth. Would you do that? He's fighting for a playoff spot. I kind of think I might.
I mean, you're definitely better suited to answer most dynasty questions, but this feels like even if you haven't lost any of your pitchers in a vacuum, this feels like the better deal to be getting is Gossman and Burns.
Yeah. I did not register dynasty. If you're getting Chase Burns in a deal for trading, I'm assuming that's Christopher Sanchez. Absolutely. Especially because I think it might help the depth side of, trying to get into the playoffs if you're not fully in, but yeah. I'll take Burns over Sanchez in dynasty right now.
Sanchez is fantastic, but Burns is going to be probably a stud, and Gossman is really reliable depth piece as well. And you need to make up that depth. So I would do that.
Yeah. By the way, shout out to our boy Nate, who just subbed with Prime. You guys can all do that if you hang out here on the Discord. On the Discord. You and I always do the Discord, so I was thinking that. When you hang out here with us on Twitch Live, gets rid of the ads, and you can use Amazon Prime. You can hook it up and get a free sub. Bam. Then you don't even have to pay for it, or you can pay for one. Gets rid of ads, supports the channel, all the goodness. Anybody out there, if you haven't even jumped into the live, if you're watching on the YouTube, go and check it out. Come and watch us live. If you got an Amazon Prime account, which I know you do, you guys can hook it up, and then you can get this all set. But shout out to Nate, and we like to shout out some of the Peanuts and Cracker Jacks that do some cool stuff during the show. All right. Wonder if I should drop Sale. My playoffs are in September. Probably hold him just because. I think the easy answer with this, like Schwellenbach, is if you've got an IL spot, you put them on there. If you're in a position where you have too many IL guys and or you don't have IL and they're taking up bench spots, I think that's the bigger question. Schwellenbach, I think, is a much easier cut than Sale right now. I think Sale could be gone for the season. I think that's absolutely plausible. But that's also a fracture. Didn't he fracture his rib? That's like a different type of fracture. So I would cut Schwellenbach before Sale, try to put him on the IL. Are you comfortable holding Sale, though, if it takes up a bench spot?
I think I would be for now, but it's not a situation where I would feel like I have to hold him if I am really pressed. I think he should be held, but if you have to drop him, it's not the end of the world, I don't think either. You're probably not going to get more than maybe a handful of starts at the end of the season from him, best case.
Yeah, maybe. Snagged Reese Olson over Sheehan, thinking long-term, smart move? I think so. I think we might have even had this exact one over on the live stream, right? Of like, I don't know if it was Reese Olson, but I would take Reese Olson over Sheehan just because, like, I think the path for Sheehan to hold that rotation spot for the year is a little dicey, and Reese has got it as long as he's back and healthy.
Yeah, I mentioned yesterday just something that I wrote over the weekend regarding Reese Olson. Since the start of last year, 31 starts of a 3.35 ERA, 118 WHIP. He's pitching for a really good team. Not that Sheehan wouldn't be, but Sheehan might make 2 more starts the rest of the season. We really don't know what the Dodgers are going to do, especially because they're slowly going to be getting healthier in the second half, or they should be anyway.
All right, some other news and notes we'll get to that kind of moves into this is like rumors and transactions. The Athletics' Ken Rosenthal reports that Adolis Garcia could emerge as a quote, rather interesting trade candidate this season. He started to pick it up. This is interesting just simply because the Rangers are in a weird spot. We've kind of speculated would they end up trading Jacob deGrom. Adolis Garcia, do you think there are some destinations that boost his value, and are you still in on him at all?
He's had a pretty decent week or so, but in terms of like regular 12-team fantasy leagues with 3 outfielders, I think he's kind of borderline. If he were to get traded to like the Phillies or something, or the Astros potentially, or maybe even the Blue Jays could use an outfielder. I could see a trade boosting his value a little bit, but I think the best days of Adolis Garcia, the 39 home run seasons, the 25 steal seasons, I think those days are mostly behind him.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that, but he's also pacing out to like have his most stolen bases. He's hit relatively poorly, still has double-digit homers. He's coming off of a June where he had 261. I guess I just kind of think like, what if he went to like a really good spot with a lot of support? What if he went to, and I guess Boston wouldn't go acquire an outfielder, but there are quite a few teams that are going to be looking for some corner infield help, that there might be some offensive spots that help him. So exit velos are still good. So I think it's interesting. The Rangers also, by the way, made a crazy move yesterday, or it seemed like, whoa. Jake Berger was activated from the IL, and then they optioned Josh Young. And I kind of talked about on the live stream, maybe this is going to be something they do in the trade. Whether I kind of think it would be this would be counter to Adolis Garcia. If they were to want to try to go for it, maybe you could trade Josh Young in a trade to compete now, but maybe they're just done with him. So I know he's backtracked a bit, but I just didn't expect him to be optioned and kicked off the team essentially.
I don't understand it at all. You get a guy who has never even played a full season's worth of games. The time he came closest 2 years ago, he gave you 23 homers and a 266 average, dealt with injuries, etc., but he's still not a bad player. I mean, his strikeout and walk rates are fine. He's only a 24% strikeout rate. He's got an 8% barrel, 42 on the hard hit. He's underperforming a lot of the expected numbers. I don't see the reasoning here to play, Billy McKinney and whoever over him. I would just see what you have with Young, unless, like you said, they're just going to trade him. But what's the value of Josh Young on the open market right now, as you've just sent him to AAA? So I don't understand it.
Young, controllable. I'm not sure. Young, controllable third baseman. If teams have a need, I bet there's some value. I bet it's less than we think. But I think, like in the right circumstance, there's definitely some value on the trade market. By the way, 100% of the votes was on Dylan Cease in the buying market. So There you go. Getting back to the poll from earlier. Last little piece, Masataka Yoshida been doing pregame work at first base during his AAA rehab. Just throwing that out to you. They are trying to find ways to get him on the field, literally on the field, not just DHing. And you've got Roman Anthony, who's been hot. Looks like he's going to get some type of a look, but we might get some first base eligibility from Yoshida, and maybe he'll have a little bit more value than we thought. So first base reps, very, very interesting at AAA for Yoshida. So keep an eye on that bad boy. 3 up and 3 down. Up Mitch Keller, 7 scoreless innings, striking out 7, picked up only his 3rd win of the season against the Cardinals. Prime time to trade him, baby. That is a prime time after that. Pirates, the quality starts have been there. Me and Pizza Pia talked a lot about, I love him, all those quality starts and no wins. This is kind of one of those reasonings. Cardinals, not a shabby team, essentially right on the cusp of that wild card. So huge outing. Addison Barger, who got brought up in the live stream, went 2 for 4 with a homer, 4 RBIs and a stolen base. Whether that is a combo meal or a sock and a shoe for our boy Frankie. And Davis Schneider. Did you put all Blue Jays on here? Look at you. Davis Schneider, 2 for 4 with 2 homers. I guess it's justified. Joe did the 3 up and 3 down. I guess it's a little justified. Anything you want to add on Barger?
Yeah, I mean, when I got a chance to rep my boys, I got to do it. Barger, I've been kind of planting my flag on him this week, so it was good to see him have a huge game. Davis Schneider was one of I've been doing this for about 5 years in this space now, and I think Davis Schneider was probably the biggest miss that I've ever had, thinking that he was going to be like an all-star level player. I can't even believe it now, but just good to see him have a big day, hitting a couple home runs in a big game. I mean, the Blue Jays and the Yankees right now, it's a big, big series. Blue Jays just tied the Yankees yesterday at the top of the American League East, so that's a big one. Could take the lead tonight.
Yeah, on the downs, Will Warren allowed 10 hits, 8 earned runs, walked 4 over 4 innings against the Blue Jays. Mick Abel walked 5, allowed 5 earned runs, didn't even get to the 2nd inning against the Padres. And Nick Kurtz, little golden sombrero, so close to the Cinco Stinko, 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts. We're just waiting for our next Cinco Stinko guy. We got a bunch of injuries in here. First one, Max Muncy had to leave Wednesday's game with a left knee injury, and it looked bad. And what is crazy about this, I don't think it's out yet, but I just wrote that prospects, in the second half article that's going to be on FantasyPros. And it's so funny because I had at one moment put Alex Freeland as a guy higher. Not saying that they're going to do this, and then I have this section where I did main write-ups and then these guys to watch. I moved Freeland down on the guys to watch, but I think I may have still put the note, it's probably going to take an injury for him to get considered. This could essentially be it. This could be something that they could look in the second half. Again, they just have so many live bodies. Who knows? But Alex Freeland is someone to maybe watch. He's been in AAA all year, can play across multiple infield positions if there's something serious. But Max Muncy had to leave Wednesday's game with a left knee injury. Bigger one, Yordan Alvarez was transferred to the 60-day IL. They said it was procedural. Doesn't change the timeline because the timeline is a mystery bag. We just don't even know. I had somebody ask me, are you willing to take the risk on buying Yordan Alvarez at all? And I just immediately said no. Are you in agreement? Assuming that is going to be at a really low cost, would you at all take the risk knowing the Astros are, fighting for that spot, he could DH, or you just out?
I'm trying to not buy in unless the cost is essentially nothing. A guy in my Patreon chat the other day, he traded Bubic to get back Alvarez and he traded Bubic and Alejandro Kirk to get back Alvarez or something like that. And it's just it was right before the news was that he was going to have to be out for longer. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to make these deals for him right now. I get asked questions about him every single day, but he might not play again this year. I have no idea at this point. He probably will, but does anybody trust the Astros right now? Are they worth trusting? I would try and avoid him unless the cost is pretty much dirt cheap.
I don't know if I hate that with the Bubic and Kirk one though. Probably assuming he got another catcher already, and Bubic has definitely been good. There might be a little backtracking. I mean, it's from a depth perspective, you're giving up a decent amount, but if you're just flying up the boards, you're high up in the ranks. I just don't know if I hate it, but I just also don't want to be involved in Yordan Alvarez stuff at all. Jordan Westberg missed his 5th consecutive game, 8 out of his last 10 with this ongoing finger issue. So we're getting a lot of questions about him. We're kind of moving on. Bo Bichette missed his 3rd consecutive game on Wednesday, but they said he's improving, not expected to go on the IL. That's a positive. Tyler O'Neill's coming off the IL on Friday, if you care, which we don't. Spencer Steer was scratched on Wednesday with a hand contusion. Doesn't seem to be too serious. Christian Moore was pulled with a thumb injury. Watch that one. A couple of the bigger named ones. Wyatt Langford's going to begin a rehab assignment on Thursday. They said he may only play 1 game and then be ready, which is absolutely huge if you're in the market for Wyatt Langford. But this is one I want to get your take on real quick. Actually, both of these guys. Blake Snell faced hitters on Wednesday in a live batting practice session can't speak today. Dave Roberts told reporters afterwards that Snell is going to throw another one, and then they're going to consider sending him out on what they are calling an extended rehab assignment. This also pairs with Luis Heel, who could begin his rehab assignment as soon as next week, likely to return maybe late July, maybe August. It seems like Snell and Heel have similar timelines. Maybe Heel beats it. Your level of comfort and buying into either one of these guys rest of season. Obviously, they're different talents, but like I feel like we have a much better feel for Luis Heel right now. We don't for Blake Snell. Are you comfortable if you own not trying to get out right now, or even in the trade market? Would you potentially try to go buy a Blake Snell, even though he's had, just like, re-aggravation and he's not doing anything?
I think this is always kind of a decent time to look into trading a player. Not that you need to, but right when a player is being announced as they're going to be coming back soon, there might be somebody in your league who just lost Schwellenbach or another pitcher, and they are in desperate need. And they might be willing to offer more than Snell or Heel is worth just because they're desperate for pitching. In reality, Snell's going to go on this rehab and hope for no setbacks, and then he's going to come back sometime in August or whenever, and then you get maybe 6 starts. That might even be fewer if you have playoffs that end earlier. So like the thought of Blake Snell is probably going to be more valuable than the production of Blake Snell. So in his situation, I don't mind trading with Heel. Don't know if you're going to be able to fetch a king's ransom back. I would probably just hold on to him unless you're getting a nice offer, but I feel like Snell, somebody might overpay for him if they really need pitching right now.
You think so? That would be, that would be kind of nice. The extended rehab is what gets me a little like, ugh. Like, what is that going to be? Is that going to be like mid-August he potentially comes back? So it's like better for head-to-head leagues if you were to get him right for the playoffs, and they would have to you'd really have to build him back up. And maybe the training wheels are taken off if he has an extended rehab assignment just because of their needs. So there could be some optimism if you believe he's not going to get re-hurt, but absolute disaster. And Heel hopefully coming back to help some teams. All right, let's do our best bets
of the day.
There you go. Best bets, final one of the week here. Also brought to you with our friends over at FanDuel, where you guys can bet 5, get some extra bonuses using our code FantasyPros right there, fantasypros.com/leading off. Bet 5, win $250 in your first bets. With that offer, fantasypros.com/leading off. You can do it this weekend if you want to get in on the action. And then speaking of action, let's check out what we've got on the board here today. Try to carry up that 3-0 day I had yesterday. You and I are both going on this one. You got better odds on it earlier, but if you're in the market looking for this right now, Jose Soriano strikeouts, -115, 4.5. Really like this number. I think 3 of his last 4 starts, he's hit this, or maybe it was 3 of his last 5. Braves are on that kind of like bottom half of the league as far as strikeouts, averaging around almost 9 per game. So I'm going to go with Jose Soriano over 4.5 strikeouts. I'm also going to take Detroit first 5 money line today. And this one has just simply been about, I think it's Festa that's up there, if I'm remembering correctly, after doing all of my research and then just completely forgetting what the games were. No, it's not Festa, because you know what? I had a bet earlier in the day where it was Festa. I loved the Marlins game, but then I wanted to go on the Marlins side, but that one started like as we were going into this one. It's Washington. That's what it is, and Jake Irvin. But Detroit's just been such a monster. I'm going to take the -125 on the first 5 money line for them. Ennis has didn't give up a run in his last start. And then Kansas City first 5 money line. That one is almost even money. They got Logan Evans going up today. So I like taking Kansas City through the first 5, see how the whole game goes. Of course, I don't have to play that. Those are my 3 best bets of the day. What do you got, Orrico?
So for Jose Soriano, I'll start there. It says under on the screen, but I'm actually holding hands with Welsh on this one. I'm going over 4.5 strikeouts for Jose Soriano today. I think that is a solid bet for the reasons that Welsh laid out. David Peterson under 4.5 strikeouts at +110. The Brewers have been kind of an interesting team this year overall, but if you're looking back over the last 3 weeks, they have the second lowest strikeout rate in all of baseball at just 18%. So I feel like going under there at a plus number is a pretty good value. And then Cade Horton, this one I'm doing a little bit of a parlay just to get a better number. Cade Horton, 4+ strikeouts. We haven't seen the strikeout upside from him at the major league level that I was hoping for yet, but 4 plus the Cubs money line going up against the Guardians, who have been absolutely atrocious, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Looking back over the last 3 weeks as a team, they have a 61 WRC plus. That is the worst in all of baseball. the Cubs should be able to get the job done today. And I think going with Cade Horton on that parlay, getting yourself a better odd is the way to go here.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me is really the strikeout, like getting to 4 with Cleveland, because they're one of the best non-strikeout teams. But I kind of love the parlay putting together. So there you go. Those are our best bets of the day. Use that code leadingoff.com/fantasypros. Get in on it, or fantasypros.com/leadingoff. Just struggling today with that. The weekend is like almost already here. You guys can tell. Bet 5, win 250. Do it today if your first bet hits with FanDuel with leading off. All right, now let's go take a look at the home run board. I did not get a homer yesterday. Not that I would have gotten on there anyways. George got another one, I think, because I think he was at 37 yesterday. Commanding lead at the tippy top. George H84 with 38. Whips and Marty both have 33. Far out and Bees and Kevman with 32. Wonky has gotten up to the 30 marker, ranking 9th on this list. We have 10 people of 30 or more homers, which is crazy. I am 1 or 2 above Joe. I believe Joe does have I think yesterday he told us his in perpetuity is going to be Shohei Ohtani, which is a solid thing if you're going to do in perpetuity. I'm going to go as well, because since we have a 3-day weekend, I'm going to be a little cheap with it. I'm taking Aaron Judge. I'm going to try to get up that board a little bit. I'm going to take Aaron Judge. So I got 23. Oh man, I'm actually close. So maybe Aaron Judge can get me on the board. So 23, give me Aaron Judge through perpetuity of today, tomorrow, and the weekend, and we'll be back on Monday. Rico, who you going with?
I am going with Isaac Paredes against the human pitching machine Kyle Freeland today at Coors Field. I'm really liking that one. Plus 400 if you're looking to bet it as well.
I love that one. I almost did take Paredes. I want to take Walker when I look at that, but it's just like, like Walker's just been so bad. Like I immediately, the very first thing I did looking at homers was like, who is going against Colorado? And then I just didn't want to lock it in with Paredes, and there's no Jeremy Pena. But all right, friends, that is it. That is the show. Hope you guys have a fantastic 4th. If you're in the U.S. and you're celebrating, be safe. Come back with all the digis. Please don't get hurt. Have a fantastic time. We are not here on Friday. Joe is out. We get the day off. We will be back again on Monday. We'll be breaking it all down. We're on Pisa Pia Watch, the final month of Pisa Pia here. So make sure you tune back for that. Make sure you go to Fantasy Pros for all of your needs. We didn't answer your question. You can check out everything in my playbook. You can check out the rankings that we've got. I've updated my rest of season rankings earlier this week. So go and download my playbook, optimize lineups, see the top available players when you sync your leagues. Very easy. If you have never done so, you can still do it. FantasyPros.com/MLB my playbook. That is it. Go enjoy your time. I know you are. Many of you already are, and you guys on YouTube do as well. We'll be back again on Monday. For Joe, Rico, I'm Welsh. Shout out to Seth. Shout out to Callie. You guys have a fantastic 4th, and we'll talk to you on Monday. Peace out. Peace out. What are you going to... Well, you had Canada Day. So what do you guys have for Canada Day? We have like chips, and what do you guys eat?
Oh, just the usual barbecue. We did a bit of a barbecue here on Tuesday. Nothing. I mean, it was Tuesday, so it's hard to really get too crazy with it.